I would invite Salma to be here, so she can take the questions, and Aparna, please, so she can moderate the discussion.
Well, after a movie like that, not really asked, but there was this question in my mind also, it's such an intimate movie in that sense. So when it's being made on a person, it's so difficult anyway, right? And that's what I don't know. If I were the character, I would not like that. It's so difficult. And the movie is being there, and it's being there right now. How do you feel in that sense? It's a question in my mind also. It's such a strange thing, seeing
I couldn't realize what happened in my life. I'm sitting here being with such a good crowd. Still, எனக்கு வந்து பழைய ஞாபகங்கள் எனக்கு படம் பார்க்குறப்போ என்னோட பழைய லைஃப் திரும்ப எனக்குள்ள வந்து எனக்கு சில சமயங்கள் நான் அழுதேன். பட் ஒரு அச்சீவ்மெண்ட் தான், அப்படிதான் நினைக்கிறேன் அது. ஆனால் இது என்னோட அச்சீவ்மெண்ட்டாக மட்டும் இருக்குங்கிறதுலேயே ஒரு வருத்தம் இருக்கு. என்ன போல எவ்வளோ பெண்கள் இன்னும் இங்கே அப்படிதான் இருந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. என்னோட கனவுகளை அது கூட வச்சுக்கிட்டு ரொம்ப வருத்தமான விஷயம்.
All these memories come back when she sees this, but she also thinks that it's very important because it's not just her story. There are a lot of people like this even now, so it's very, very important that she goes through this also, even as it is painful.
இது ஒரு யூனிவர்சல் ஸ்டோரி அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அது அப்படிதான் சொல்ல முடியாது. இது நாட் மை பர்சனல் லைஃப் ஒன்லி. It's a universal story. We can say last month I was in Albania. I can hear many story about women life, such kind of life. அப்போ வந்து எனக்கு ஒரு நான் இங்கே தனியாக இல்லை, எனக்கு என்னோட மாதிரி நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்கிற ஒரு விஷயம் தொடர்ந்து கூடவே வந்துட்டு கஷ்டப்பட்டுறேன்.
It is a good film, reflecting your struggle and your strife.
லோன்லினஸ்ன்றது எனக்குள்ள இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு விஷயமா மட்டும் நான் யோசிக்கிறேன். ஒவ்வொரு தனி மனிதர்களும் வந்து எவ்வளோ விஷயங்கள் நமக்குள்ள இருந்தாலும், எவ்வளோ அச்சீவ் பண்ணாலும், எவ்வளோ விஷயங்களை நம்ம கடந்து கிராஸ் பண்ணிட்டு போனாலும் கூட அந்த தனிமை ஒவ்வொருத்தருக்குள்ளே இருக்கு அப்படின்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். அந்த தனிமை எனக்குள்ள இன்னும் இருந்துட்டு தான் இருக்கு. இது ஒவ்வொருத்தருக்குள்ளே இருக்கு நான் நம்புறேன்.
She doesn't think loneliness is her, it's just her own problem, but that kind of a loneliness, solitude is in everybody, and from that comes a certain kind of originality also. So it's not just her loneliness, but everybody has that reflective solitude.
I congratulate you for being in the system, at the same time being a leader and led such a revolution.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, please.
This is really superb.
Can you hear it?
I must congratulate I remember the Fulham story actually. I made a documentary on Fulham. I was, Fulham was sitting in Sriport and film was on the screen. My documentary was recorded. Anyway, that's not. It's a superb story. I almost congratulate the filmmaker as well as SALMA for. So I just want to know, it's a paradigm shift, I felt, from village to coming to the world scenario. I just wanted to know one point, what really compelled you to revolt, from, because as I felt that Muslim law and the Muslim culture is so much restricted, particularly about women, and you revolted from there. Such a marvelous, what exactly made you to do that? Can you give me the listing of the movement, what exactly encouraged you to revolt? Thank you.
In our society, we can realize every day the discrimination about women and everything. I was 12 and a half years old. I went to a movie without my family knowledge. Same movie, my brother, the younger brother, he came with me. That we don't know what film is there. Only the small village, only small cinema theater is there. Only the movie is going and we want to go without my family knowledge. But that movie is some kind of adult movie. We don't know about that movie. After we came back home, everybody knows about it. My mom is told, beaten me, how a girl, see, you are doing this kind of thing. Next day, I could not go to school. Before my puberty, I finished my school. But my brother is regularly he is going to school. I could not realize, say, this is, yes, I can accept, ma'am, this is the wrong thing I did, but he is doing same thing, he did all wrong thing. But why you allowed him, why you should not me? She told him, you are the child. I can, that time he is a man, boy. That time I can felt very bad. அப்பதான் எனக்கு புரிஞ்சுது என்ன மாதிரியான ஒரு சொசைட்டி இங்க வந்து ஆணுக்கும் பெண்ணுக்கும் ஒரு பெரிய ஒரு இதை உருவாக்கி இருக்குது, எப்படி மாத்துறது, எதிராக எப்படி நான் ஃபைட் பண்றது, அது பெரிய ஒரு விலையா எனக்குள்ள விழுந்ததுன்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன்.
This is the incident that she was talking about. This happened when she was 13. So when her brother was going to the movie, she was also going to the movie, but she was kept inside and not allowed to go. So it was at that point that she said she thought there is a difference in the way the world is treating, girl children and girls and boys. There is a kind of difference. So that became a kind of, inside her that she has to do something about it.
I salute your sacrifice, and I just wanted to one question. आपको उस समय कैसा लगता था जब आपके बच्चे आपको नहीं समझ पाते थे?
Now they are youngsters, இந்த வயசோட அதாவது மெட்ரோபாலிட்டன் சிட்டிஸ்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய youngsters, they haven't any interest about the literature. Only Facebook and cinema and this kind of things. But one more thing I want to share with you. My poetry is bad poetry, sexual poetry. In Tamil Nadu, sexual poets, we call the sexual poets. Sometimes we were living in village, they came from the school. Elders and many times craved about my poetry. The reason the poems, India Today and some other magazines, they published my poetry. published the poem. You know about my poems, everything is about human body, many poems. They published my poems. That time, all the village people and the families, they are criticized a lot about me. That school, he was 7 years, he was 7th, I think. His grade came and grade. Why you are writing this kind of poems? You are not a proper mother, you are not a good mother. All my classmates are teasing me. Your mother is worst person. அப்போ வந்து அப்படிதான் நான் புரிஞ்சுக்கிறேன். இந்த சொசைட்டி எப்படி பார்க்குது, அதை அவங்க அந்த மாதிரி கன்சிடர் பண்ணிட்டாங்க அப்படின்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன்.
She's saying the society is looking, the kids are also thinking that the society is looking at, you like this, you're writing this kind of poetry, so it's a kind of shameful thing, what we saw in the film. Like it's also like how the society is constructing young minds, like, how they are. Aparna, would you like to?
Salma, if I can just ask you a little, it's, I suppose, very strange, I'm sure you're used to it by now, to watch yourself in a film. There's also a way in which a film constructs a story. So did it seem strange to you in the beginning when you saw your life being constructed in this manner by somebody else? A story has a beginning, middle and an end. Not necessarily a life, and you obviously have many more things to achieve and many more things to do. So what were your thoughts when you first watched the film? The story has been told a certain way. Is there anything you disagreed with, perhaps the manner in which some things were, depicted? I don't know. What were your first thoughts when you watched the film?
First time I saw the film in Sundance Film Festival in Salt Lake City, Park City, with audience. எனக்கு வந்து அது அப்போ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் பார்க்குறப்போ எனக்கு இது மாதிரி நான் எங்கே வந்து இன்னைக்கு நின்றுட்டு இருக்கேன், என்னோட லைஃப்பை ஒரு லிட்ரேச்சர் வந்து இந்த அளவுக்கு மார்க்கிங்க கொண்டு வந்திருக்கா அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு பெரிய ஒரு அவநம்பிக்கை அந்த மாதிரி தான் ஃபீல் பண்ணேன். நான் ரொம்ப உணர்ச்சி வசப்பட்டு அழுது. நான் அந்த மாதிரி தான் நடந்தது ஃபர்ஸ்ட். அப்புறம் இந்த படத்தோட டிசைட்டிவ் ஆகிற மாதிரி பெருசாக ஒன்றும் இல்லை. கிம் என்னை வந்து ரொம்ப நேசிக்கக்கூடிய, எனக்கு எந்த பிரச்சனையும் வந்துடக்கூடாதுன்றது ரொம்ப கவனமாக படம் பண்ணாங்க. அப்போ நான் ஆரம்பத்தில் சொன்னதாக தான், when she was approached me by mail, I told her I don't want to share my life with other people. Now my family is okay with me. They are accepting my writing and they are okay, fine with me. But we don't want to create a problem again. Then she was very careful. Then the religion also. You don't do anything against religion, I will get trouble. But she can understand everything. She made very conscious.
I have one question. When I watch this film, what I think is there is the way in which this, because she has got a lot of other facets to. Salman's got a lot of other faces in terms of as a political figure in Tamil Nadu, making a lot of changes in the lives of people, and as a literary figure who's kind of traveled across the world, widely translated. So I have a feeling that when this film is, the film is a kind of a journey of a woman from the private space to the public space, and not really touching upon how that the journey is actually made. It's said that it is there. So do you think what is your feeling about it? There are a lot of facets to it, as you know, which are not really touched upon in this film. So.
Yes, என்னோட லிட்ரேச்சரோட விஷயங்கள், அப்புறம் என்னுடைய பொலிட்டிக்கல் விஷயங்கள், அப்புறம் சோசியல் ஆக்டிவிட்டி, நான் அந்த மாதிரியான ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ் நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய இன்வால்வ் பண்ணி பண்ணுறப்போ எல்லாத்தையும் கொண்டு வரணும் படத்துக்குள்ள அப்படிங்கிறப்போ அவங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப கஷ்டமாக இருந்திருக்கும் நான் ஃபீல் பண்ணேன். அந்த விஷயங்கள் வந்திருக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு சில சமயங்களில் யோசிச்சாலும் கூட அது வெரி டிஃபிகல்ட். ஒரு 1.5 மணி நேரம் படத்தில் வந்துட்டு அது வந்து ஒரு டொமஸ்டிக் உள்ள மட்டும் அதை கொண்டு வரணும்னு அவங்க ஃபீல் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. எல்லாத்தையும் கொண்டு வர்றப்போ ஒரு குழப்பம் வந்துடும் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி ஒன்லி தே வாண்ட் டொமஸ்டிக் விஷயமா மாற்றிட்டாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
When your poems were published. Thereafter you became the member of the council in a village, and thereafter the welfare officer also. And then internationalization, and now the movie, the film. Do you feel that could you change any of the things which are still happening in a village? Any of the rituals or the custom? Do you feel that could you change that thing, or it's yet to be done? Or is there something which you can do? I'm talking about your own village, where you were there, which is still having the same type of customs and rituals going on. So your life has changed. What about the other people over there?
Yes, I want to change their lives, their women, especially women lives, but it will take time. Only 5 years I'm traveling outside, become a popular politician and local. And I have a future ambition with me. I will start a school for women, children, girls, for the education level. We could not move the people. They are always aware about me in my village. அந்த பொண்ணுகள் நான் ஸ்பாயில் பண்ணிவிட்டே think about me, I will spoil the girls, you know. But every schools, every time I'm visiting many functions, attending many programs, I spoke with the other students, especially girls. I spoke about the education. But recent days, what happened in my village, little bit they are going behind, backward. I don't know why. You know, இப்போ வந்து not only in my village, உலகம் ஃபுல்லாக வந்து முஸ்லீம்களுக்கு இப்படி ஒரு கிரைசிஸ் நம்ம எல்லாரும் பார்த்துக்கிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஆல் த முஸ்லீம்ஸ் ஆர் டெரரிஸ்ட் அப்படின்ட்டு ஒரு இது உருவாயிருக்கு. அப்போ வந்து அவங்க வந்து தன்னுடைய மதத்தை வந்து தன்னுடைய தங்களை வந்து அவங்களுடைய அடையாளத்தை வந்து இன்னும் இறுக்கிக்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறாங்க. அது என்னோட வில்லேஜில் இப்போ கொஞ்சம் அதிகமாகிட்டு இருக்கு. என்னோட வில்லேஜில் நான் பார்க்க முடியுது. முன்னாடி 7, 8 படிக்கிற பொண்ணுங்கள்லாம் முகத்தை போட்டு பரதா ஃபுல்லாக போட்டதில்லை. இப்போ கண் மட்டும் தான் தெரியும். இப்போ வந்து சேஞ்சஸ் வந்து வேறு மாதிரி ஆகிட்டு இருக்கு. பட் இதை நான் என்னுடைய வில்லேஜோட சேர்ந்து நான் பார்க்க மாட்டேன். இது உலகளாவிய இஸ்லாமியர்களுக்கு எதிரான சில பிரச்சனைகளை அவங்க வந்து இப்படி தான் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க. அதை எப்படி ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுறான்னு தெரியாமல் அவங்க வேறு விதமாக ஃபேஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்கன்னு நான் ஃபீல் பண்ணுறேன்.
These days, you know, there is a kind of labeling of Muslims as terrorists. So, especially in the villages, like, you know, you're labeled as. So there is this sense of insecurity. So they become more and more defensive. So there is, in order to counter that, they become, you know, rooted in their identity or try to do certain things which they feel would kind of protect them from this kind of thing. So they become more and more, you know, more and more defensive about this. So this, and in that, like one of these, the boys who was talking, like, you know, they become more and more aggressive about this kind of thing. So this is what's happening in her village, and she says it's become more now because earlier people were only wearing a kind of parda with face could be seen. Now only the eyes are.
Recently happened.
This is a recent.
Shocking. I was very shocking, but. That's the reason we know. I spoke about the reason. But not only in my village, many places we can see, many cities also. The parda system, they are fully covered, only eyes we can see. But the people, the society should fight with education. அது வந்து அதோட அப்படிதான் அவங்க வந்து தன்னோட ஐடென்டிஃபிகேஷனை வந்துட்டு ப்ரூவ் பண்ணணுமே ஒழிய அவங்க வந்து இன்னும் வேற விதமாக கொண்டு போறாங்கன்ற வருத்தம் இருந்துட்டு தான் இருக்கும்.
There was nobody like that.
Same people have been used, but how long?
There were photographs of the past.
Photographs of the past, but some of the even scripts are also there. I think from the marriage.
That
No,
was
no, those were different people. Those were different people in the village. Like the recent, so they were juxtaposing these two things. Like, whatever was happening to her years back, it's the same kind of thing which is happening now also. So these are girls which are like, they got married last year, recently. So say, it's not her actually.
And actually, to me, that was one of the most interesting
Yes.
things about the film. The fact that you're constantly moving between the past and the present. So you don't really know whether it's now or earlier, and that again sort of shows how sort of timeless, unfortunately, this is. So it's still happening. And for me, the climax of the film really happens, of course, with your kids. That entire conversation, because you really get a sense of how time has stopped still, and perhaps nothing has changed. Entire lives have gone by and nothing has changed.
You have not shown her eating anybody else's work. See, magazines, books.
She mentioned.
So, she can say about
No, I spoke lot of things. At least 12 weeks they made the film, the shooting. I spoke lot of things, but the editing, no.
I think just as her smile and her silence revealed more than it hid.
Yes.
Similarly, you shoot lots, but you don't allow it. You cannot have everything entering the film. You do edit. So it's a conscious choice of what to include or not to include.
Film is cinema is a language, but அதில் வந்து dialogues is less. அதுதான் உண்மையான film நான் நினைக்கிறேன்.
You said you loved reading when you were young. What did you like reading? What were you reading those days? What changed your?
Yes, I have 1981 to 9-10 years. Like I was in the house. I haven't any work to do. In the whole time I am sitting in the room. That time I can read many books, especially in my library, nearest my library I can get some good books. That books, Russian literature. I like very much Dostoevsky's writings, and Lenin, Marx, say every, especially that kind of books. Periyar is the great leader in Tamil Nadu. His books are changing my views and thoughts. நான் என்ன நினைக்கிறேன்னா அதை வந்து அவர் வந்து உடைப்பார். What kind of belief I have, the society have, he broke all the things. Right? He was a great leader, such a great leader. He changed my thoughts, many things. அந்த மாதிரியான books, I was lucky, I think. I got great books, great reading here.
We can take the last question, very last question. And you had that.
Yeah.
Maybe she was asking. So do it. Yes, you do.
My question is, she seemed to have changed so many perceptions of a girl's perception on education. Do you think you will be able to change the perception of men in the coming years?
Yes, of course. Change should become both of the people, no? Not only from the women, no? We should do. In many colleges, many university programs I was attending, I spoke these kind of things, no? The society should change. The thoughts of the society, men and women, everything should.
My question is, there seems to be a contradiction in how you're accepted today, in terms of there's acceptance of your work largely, but there's also rejection sometimes within the family, sometimes within the village. So there is shaming of your work in some sections that you still inhabit, and there is celebration of your work in different sections. So how do you manage that conflict? How do you negotiate that conflict?
அது எனக்கு மட்டும் இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு விஷயம் நான் பார்க்கலாது. எந்த ஒரு லிட்ரேச்சருக்கும் சிலருக்கு வந்து பிடிச்ச ஒரு விஷயங்கள் இருக்கும், அதை கிரிட்டிசைஸ் பண்ணுறதுக்கு சில விஷயங்கள் இன்னொருத்தருக்கு இருக்கும். அதை வந்து நம்ம ஈக்குவலாக பார்க்கறதுக்கான ஒரு மனநிலை வேணும்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். எனக்கு அந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு மனநிலையை நான் உருவாக்கிட்டேன். ஏன்னா என்னுடைய நாவல் போயம்ஸ்லாம் பெரிய அளவுக்கு கடுமையான எதிர்ப்பையும் விமர்சனத்தையும் எதிர்கொண்ட நேரத்திற்கு. பட் ஒரு பக்கம் சப்போர்ட்டிவான சில விஷயங்களும் எனக்கு கிடைச்சிட்டு இருக்காங்க. நான் இதை வச்சுதான் என்னை வந்து சந்தோஷப்படுத்திக்கிறதுக்கோ திருப்திப்படுத்திக்கிறதுக்கோ நான் ட்ரை பண்ணுவேன் ஒழிய அந்த விமர்சனத்தை வச்சு நான் முடங்கிக்கிடக்கூடாது அப்படிங்கிறது நான் தெளிவாக இருக்கேன். ஏன்னா போதும், அவங்களுடைய பிளான் நினைக்கிறது என்னன்னா இந்த மாதிரியான விமர்சனங்கள் மூலமா வந்து என்னோட ரைட்டிங்ஸை வந்து நிறுத்தணுன்றதுக்கான விஷயமா கூட இருக்கலாம் அந்த விமர்சனங்களின் வழியா. பட் அதை நான் ஏற்றுக்கிற முடியாது, அதுக்கு நான் பலியாக கூடாதுன்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன்.
Since for everyone, whatever you do, there will be like some people say, some people will praise it. So if you start looking at it that way, like you get too worried about the criticism, too happy about so there has to be some kind of an equanimity, some kind of a poise with which you look at these things. And she feels over a period of time, she has gained that kind of a poise, looking at things in the same manner, like whether it is criticism, because you have to keep working. So whatever is the criticism, because there has been, such harsh criticism against her. So once you go through this, perhaps you reach a level where you take it. You would want to say some other comments.
I guess it's always hard to sort of end a session like this, because it's not often that you have the protagonist of a film, a very powerful film, and I'm so sure that all of you must have so many questions to address to Salma. Unfortunately, we have run out of time here tonight, but we're hoping that we will hear more about you, we will read more of your poems, and that you will continue to speak as courageously as you have done all your life, and that we shall sort of benefit from it and be fortunate enough to listen to everything that you will bring to us in the future as well. Thank you so much, Salma.
Thank you. Thank you all are coming here and presently watching the movie. And thank you, Rizio. She arranged a wonderful evening. Many languages in my poem. It was very new for me. My novel translated some other languages, foreign languages, but today in Indian languages, many languages, same time the poetry reading happened. It was very pleasant evening, I think. Thank you, Rizio, and everyone.
Thank you all the translators, wonderful audience, and thank you, Aparna.